If you missed Combat Sports Digest, you missed... Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Combat Sports Digest, the only combat show with teeth. I'm Jim Rotundo, your host for this week's show, and my co-host is Scott Green from the Shamrock Athletic Center. Now this week we've got a really cool show for you. We spent the day with the Cornell wrestling team, and we also got a special interview with Troy Nickerson.
We also spent some time down on campus in Vestal with Binghamton University, coaches Pat Papalizio, Dennis Papadatos, and three-time national qualifier Josh Patterson.
We also got an In the Gym segment with Marshall Dornick, and we'll be right back.
Looking for someone to help you reach your health and fitness goals? Marshall Dornick of HealthStrong is your answer. His 6 years of experience in the field of sports medicine, working with a wide variety of athletes, make him uniquely qualified to address multiple fitness and health goals. Marshall is also a certified strength and conditioning specialist and a performance enhancement specialist. So whether you're a serious athlete looking to gain a competitive edge or a weekend warrior working toward optimal fitness, HealthStrong can take you there.
Binghamton Bearcats recently got back from their CAA tournament where they were trying to qualify some guys for the national tournament.
Yeah, Binghamton had a rough up-and-down season, dual meet-wise, but the CAA championships was a definite peak for the program, placing 6 guys and in the top 4 in the team competition.
Okay, let's head on down to the West Gym and check out the Binghamton Bearcats. The 2004-2005 college season was non-existent at Binghamton University. The program was dropped due to budget cuts, but was reinstated a year later after a group led by actor Billy Baldwin, called Friends of Binghamton Wrestling, was able to raise the funds to meet their expenses. After a winless 2005-2006 season, coaches Pat Papalizio and his assistant Dennis Papadatos took over for the 2006-2007 season and led the Bearcats to their best season up to that point as a Division I program. The Bearcats won 10 dual matches and sent Josh Patterson to the NCAAs. They followed that up in the 2007-2008 season by going 13-12. They sent Josh Patterson and Kyle Freed to nationals, and they've set their sights on more. Enter the 2008-2009 season. The coaching staff wants to compete with the best teams in the country, and in a short time, they feel they can. As a result, the Bearcats added the likes of Penn State, Oklahoma, and a host of other top-flight Division I opponents to their schedule.
If you want to compete and be one of the best guys or teams in the country, you have to compete at that level, wrestling different programs that have accomplished greatness, and we've done that. You know, we've battled every team there is across the country. I know certain guys have wrestled the best guys at their weight as well, so it's going to pay off here. It did for a conference tournament. It's getting ready to pay off for Josh wrestling in the NCAA tournament.
Despite wrestling one of the toughest schedules in the country, the Bearcats finished the season 13-14. They matched their win total of a year ago, and they improved upon their 6th place finish in the league tournament by finishing 4th in the CAA this year. They had 6 guys place, and Josh Patterson is going to the national tournament for the 3rd year in a row. Assistant coach Dennis Papadatos talks about the effects of such a hard schedule.
Best word I would use is battle-stricken, I would say. You know, we definitely made it hard, and hindsight might have been a little too hard, but I'll tell you what, you know, me and Pat talking, it definitely put Josh believing and when the situation is in, so it's hard to have regrets seeing at the level that Josh is competing at. I thought some more guys would come around to be at the level Josh was at, but they're just a year away.
Coach Papalizio was pleased with the team's development.
We definitely had some ups and downs, but we had a very, very young team, and they matured every week, every month. They kept getting better and better, and obviously, you know, everything we were doing throughout the season was to prepare our team for the end of the year and for the NCAA tournament.
We already talked about Josh Patterson and his accomplishments. In the CAA tournament, Kyler Malmberg placed 4th at 125, Anwar Gorez took 3rd at 141, Matt Kaler took 4th at 149, senior Nate Patterson took 3rd at 157, and Corey Waite, who moved up to 285 for the end of the season, took 4th at that weight. Coach Papadopoulos was pleased with the way the team wrestled in the CAA tourney and sees hope for next year.
You know, at the conference tournament, there wasn't one moment that I sat in a corner and thought to myself, man, our guy's not even fighting. It was, the whole time was either we were outmatched, we were throwing our guns out, so it was good to see. It's definitely put us in the right situation for next year and for Josh to get it done this year.
Coach Papalizio feels the same way.
We finished 4th, and I thought our guys wrestled the best that they possibly could wrestle, and we definitely wrestled above our seeds, which is always a positive anytime you can do that. So overall it was a great tournament. Everybody that placed is coming back, other than Nate Patterson graduating. So we'll have 5 conference place finishers coming back next year with a bunch of guys coming out of red shirts. So things are very bright right now for the future of our program.
One of the highlights of the season was the Bearcats' come-from-behind win against Buffalo. The win even caught the eye of Cornell head coach Rob Cole.
A little over their heads as far as the scheduling, and had some amazing competition early on, and I think they were a little young, and they got beat up a little bit, and now they've got them together again, and they just beat Buffalo. Now Buffalo might not be a top 10 team, but it's a team that's been, you know, in the MAC for many years. They've had the program forever. To beat a school like that in only their 2nd or 3rd year back is just an amazing accomplishment. I want to get them on the schedule next year and start creating a rivalry. Coach Papalizio and Green and Papadopoulos have done an amazing job of not just bringing in good talent, but developing that talent.
Cornell and Coach Papadopoulos' alma mater, Hofstra, are the teams New York is known for right now, but Papadopoulos believes the best is yet to come.
It shows how great New York State is. I mean, we're predominantly a New York State team, and we're taking kids that didn't even place in the state and winning at a pretty high level with them. So, you know, as it keeps getting more and more and we start getting the New York State champs to stay home, I think we're going to start being able to compete at the levels of Hofstra and Cornell. I mean, we're a couple years away, but that's our goal.
Coach Papalizio thinks the success of the Cornell and Hofstra programs are good for the Bearcats.
They see them competing, and, you know, we're working to kind of compete at that level as well. You know, right now we definitely have one guy that can compete at that level, and hopefully in the years to come we can raise the bar and get close to where they're at.
Bearcats took their lumps this year, but with that experience and the strong desire of their coaching staff to make their guys the best, Binghamton looks to be a force to be reckoned with on the New York State wrestling scene in the very near future. From the West Gym at Binghamton University, I'm Jim Rotundo. You can see by the fine shape that I'm in need of a personal trainer, and we've got one on the show for you. His name's Marshall Dornick, and this week in the gym, we're going to check out some pull-ups.
Another great upper body movement. This is going to be especially good for developing the pulling strength of the body, and a more vertical plane is going to be the pull-up. Anytime you can do a lot of heavy pulling movement that utilizes the entire body, that's really going to be good for developing not only the muscles in the back and through your lats and your traps and those muscles, but it's also going to be really good for developing size and thickness in through the biceps. One thing for the pull-up is there's a lot of different grip variations you can do, from an underhand grip to an overhand grip. You can go wide to, you know, narrow and everything in between. A wider overhand grip is going to emphasize more the lower lats as you pull through. It's going to take some of the emphasis off of the biceps. More of it's going to be kind of placed in through your teres muscles, or some of the more minor muscles in through the shoulder that lend a little bit more thickness in through the upper back and right around your armpits. If you want to really kind of hit the biceps really well, a neutral grip or a narrow underhand grip, or any kind of a narrower grip where you really have to go through a full range of motion at the arm and the elbow, is going to hit the biceps a little bit more, and you're also going to target like the full range of motion to the lat, so you're kind of pulling through the entire range of motion that the lat can activate through. and that'll really help with the lat emphasis and development through your lower back. And also as you bring up and kind of squeeze at the top of the movement, you're going to really kind of activate those trap muscles as well to kind of help pull your shoulders up and back. Plus you can get some deltoid development as well, especially in through the posterior delts. A lot of times one of the mistakes you'll see is people not completing the movement as far as they can. Something I like to tell people is it's not so much a chin up as it should be a chest up. So if you can, you want to try and bring the bar to your upper chest. And people sometimes have a hard time doing a lot of pull-ups or doing pull-ups in general to begin with. And a good way to kind of start and build that pull-up strength is to do some negative reps. And what you do with a negative rep is you get up on a chair or a bench, and from there you're going to hop up and get into that top position or the top pull-up position where you have that bar right at your chest, and then you're just going to lower yourself to a count of 5 to 10. I mean, the slower you can lower yourself, the more force you're going to kind of build up in that muscle, and that strength is going to help carry over. So that negative motion or the lowering is really going to do a lot of damage to the muscle cells. So you're probably going to feel pretty sore after a lot of negative pull-ups. So that's really going to help fire off the muscle groups that you want to use. They used to do a lot of negative reps or slow lowering reps in the Russian strength training programs, and that really kind of helps develop that strength because you have fewer muscle fibers activated to handle that weight. So negative pull-ups is a good place to start. Once you can do a complete pull-up, do as many pull-ups as you can, and then kind of finish your set out with some negative pull-ups or some lat pull-downs or something like that, just so you can kind of continue to emphasize and build that strength in through the lats and arms.
The Shamrock Athletic Center at 47 Riverside Drive in Johnson City is the new home for all your family fitness needs.
We have everything your family needs to get in shape and stay that way. There's circuit trainers, free weights, treadmills and elliptical trainers. Shamrock Athletic Center also offers aerobics, Pilates, plus a host of combat sports training classes.
What are you waiting for? Get down to the Shamrock Athletic Center at 47 Riverside Drive and start getting in shape today. Call 644-1190.
Recently spent some time with the Cornell wrestling team as they were preparing for the NCAA championships.
Cornell was recently runner-up at the national duels to the Iowa Hawkeyes, but as all wrestling fans know, the NCAA is tournament scoring, and with 4 potential finalists, the Big Red is a national hopeful.
Let's go to the Friedman Wrestling Center and check it out. The Cornell University wrestling team is on the verge of a very special season. Ranked second in the nation, the Big Red will send 9 wrestlers to St. Louis for the Division I NCAA championships. That in of itself is a pretty respectable feat, but more importantly, Cornell has a chance to flex its muscles against perennial wrestling powerhouse Iowa. If all things fall into place, Cornell could come home from St. Louis with the school's first national championship. Equally as important, this could focus the wrestling world, who have been camping out in the Midwest for years, on the East Coast and its emergence as a force to be reckoned with in the wrestling world. Led by defending national champion Jordan Lean, the Big Red finished second in the national duels and are ranked second going into the NCAAs.
National duels, we prepared well for that. We knew we were going to be wrestling the top-ranked teams in the country, and we made sure we were ready to win. And we actually had the ability to win. I think that's the biggest difference, is we have the ability to do it this year.
Senior Steve Ansaravage is pleased with the way the season's gone so far.
We're ranked second in the country right now. To be doing that from an Ivy League university, it says a lot, and I'm very happy about how the team's performed.
Undefeated Mac Lunas is equally pleased.
It's great. It's absolutely. It's great. Not only a chance to just wrestle with these guys, going to an Ivy League school and wrestling with these guys, but being an Ivy League school, we compete with these guys. We're right up there with them. We beat Iowa State at national duels, and we lost to Iowa, but gosh, if just a few matches went our way, we could have beat them, and we really got a shot. It's a great feeling. I'm really excited.
Coach Rob Cole has been the Big Reds head coach since 1993. He had a very successful career as a wrestler himself while at the University of North Carolina and on the international circuit. Equally as impressive is his coaching resume. He's had 4 individual NCAA champions, 27 All-Americans, and 23 EIWA champions. His teams have won multiple league titles and have finished as high as 4th in the nation in 2005. However, this could be Cole's greatest team yet. Obviously, it takes a great team to win the national championship. With such a quality group of core wrestlers, the rest of the team can't help but be successful.
We got as much high-end power as any team in the country, and quite honestly, those kids have dragged the rest of the guys along. When you are surrounded by national champions and national finalists, and we have 6 All-Americans on the team, to have a goal set for anything less than All-American would be a disappointment.
As we approach the national tournament, 5-time New York State champion and 2-time All-American, Troy Nickerson offers his thoughts.
Going into the national tournament, again, if we're all firing on all cylinders, I really believe we're the best team in the country. And hopefully as a team we can put together those good 3 days and come away the victor.
Steve Ansaravage echoes that.
If everybody steps up and has their peak performance, I don't think that even Iowa at their best could beat us. So, if we step up and wrestle the way we can, then I think that's what's going to happen.
A peak performance is what it's going to take for the Big Red to make history.
I absolutely have the faith that we are going to be peaked at the right time. And Coach Cole has years on his track record to support that he peaks his team at the right time. And he'll joke around about how he has us underachieve all year. That way everybody thinks we overachieve at the NCAA tournament. But that's just him being modest. We absolutely peak at the right time. We do it better than any other team in the country.
So what does it take to peak your team?
Well, I used to be old school. I used to think the harder you work, the better you're going to be. Every single situation, every single kid, and every wrestler was exactly the same. And over the years, I found that we used to burn kids out and work them to death and work them down, or work them to where they weren't effective. And every kid is subtly different, so it's tough. You can't treat everyone the same. And if you try to do that, you're going to, you're going to help the kids who need to be trained that way and hurt the kids who are incredibly athletic.
Does the team think it works?
Coach Cole's got us on a great program. He knows what he's doing, so we'll end up, I'm sure we'll peak at NCAAs, and if all of our guys wrestle to their potential, we can beat Iowa.
Steve Ansaravage tells us what makes his team the best.
I think we're one of the hardest working teams in the country. We've got great team chemistry. We're always out there trying to push, not just for ourselves. I think all that stuff, plus the coaching staff, obviously. We've got a great coaching staff here, not just in their wrestling abilities, but they keep wrestling fun. And I think a lot of times you run into programs where the wrestlers, they're working hard, but it's a constant grind. I mean, it's one of the toughest sports, and if you don't keep it somewhat fun and lighthearted, then it's going to wear you out. And our coaches are really good about making sure that it remains a fun sport.
From what I saw at practice, these guys are having fun wrestling. And they have a chance to be the best in the country, and with all the ingredients in place, the national stage could be lit up with this Ivy League school from a rural lakeside community in upstate New York. From Cornell University in Ithaca, I'm Jim Rotundo. One of the bright spots for the Bearcats was Josh Patterson. Josh finished 40-4 this season and qualified for his 3rd NCAA tournament.
Josh a little bit older, a little bit stronger, moving up a weight class to 184. He dominated the competition in Norfolk at the CAAs with a major decision in the finals and is primed and ready for an All-American run in St. Louis.
Okay, let's spend a little time with Josh Patterson.
If I could store all the world's heat in a bottle, you'd believe it.
The Binghamton Bearcats' Josh Patterson is headed to St. Louis for the 2009 NCAA Division I Wrestling Championships. This is the 3rd year in a row that Patterson, a junior, is qualified for the big dance. As a freshman, Josh finished the regular season with a 27-10 record and placed 3rd in the CAA, earning his first trip to the national championships. As a sophomore, he went 22-4 and again placed 3rd in the CAA, earning his 2nd trip. This season, Josh finished the regular season 41-4. He won the Penn State Open, came in 2nd at the prestigious Southern Scuffle, and steamrolled his way through the CAA, winning the 184-pound championship. He also set a Bearcat record for pins in the season when he picked up his 18th pin against Sacred Heart. This time, Patterson heads to St. Louis, ranked 6th in the country, and has a big goal.
I feel like if I wrestle my best, I actually can go out there if I perform well, I can be wrestling right out there with the best guys in the country and possibly win a national title.
In past seasons, there were some matches that Josh didn't win that he felt that he should have. This year has been different.
I know if I wrestled my best, I could always compete with the best guys, but it just wasn't always going my way in big matches, but this year it just all clicked for me, and I feel like I can compete with everybody now.
One of the things that has improved Josh's mindset is the fact that the Bearcats coaching staff gave them one of the toughest schedules in the nation. It was their hope that facing tough competition on a regular basis would help the team, and in this case, Josh step up and get used to competing at a high level. Coaches Pat Papalizio and Dennis Papadopoulos explain.
Naturally, he's a great wrestler, a hard-working kid, and he needed the confidence of the schedule that we set. He needed to know he could compete against the top guys in the country. You know, that's where our schedule might have hurt some of the younger guys throughout the season, but for him, it definitely helped him get his confidence where it needs to be. He knows now going into the national tournament, he's wrestled 20 of the guys that are going to be there.
Schedule put his mindset ready, to get it done. And even if Josh doesn't, is not a vocal leader, it's hard not to follow a guy that's been winning at the level that he's winning at. You know what I mean? He's been a prime example of everything we preach here. He's quiet, he's humble, he goes in there, and when the singlet's on, he goes hard for 7 straight minutes.
Coach Papadopoulos is one of Josh's wrestling partners during practice, and he's seen the growth in him throughout the season. What's the difference in this year's Josh Patterson and Josh Pattersons of the past?
I told Josh all year, you're good enough to be standing on top of the podium at Nationals. I've been telling him all year. I feel it, I wrestle with him all the time. He looks unbelievable. The difference is Josh believes it now. Like Josh believes it. So when he believes it, he goes out there with the intent of manhandling everyone. That's pretty much what he's been doing.
Spotlight will be on the Binghamton Bearcats' Josh Patterson in St. Louis this week. Josh is hopeful that he'll be able to accomplish his goals. With a newfound confidence in his abilities, it's looking like he just might do that. We here at Combat Sports Digest wish him the best. From the wrestling room at Binghamton University's West Gym, I'm Jim Rotunda. While I was up at Cornell, I got a chance to sit down with 5-time New York State champion and 2-time All-American Troy Nickerson.
Yeah, Troy's a local native. He's come a long way since his first tournament at the age of 5 when he was pinned by a girl. He's ready to roll this year, overcome some injuries, and looking to get a national title under his belt.
Let's check out Troy Nickerson. Troy Nickerson has accomplished a lot of things in his storied wrestling career. At Shenango Forks High School, he was the first and only 5-time New York State champion. Among the other things he's accomplished is he's won junior national titles in both freestyle and Greco-Roman in 2004. He capped off his high school career with a high school national championship. Troy was probably one of the most highly sought-after recruits, and he decided to stay close to home and go to Cornell University, where they were beginning to do great things with their wrestling program.
Being an Ivy League institution along with one of the top wrestling programs in the country, it's kind of hard not to turn to it. And with it being in my backyard and me having a very close family, that just added to it. Ultimately, I wanted a little bit of everything, and this was the place to be.
In his first year with the Big Red, he won his first 18 matches, including the Las Vegas Invitational title, with wins over the first and second seeded wrestlers in the tourney. He became the first Ivy League athlete to win both Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year in the same season, and he capped off his freshman campaign with a second-place finish in the NCAA National Championships. The first season raised the eyebrows of some of his teammates.
Just phenomenal. To come in as a true freshman and take second in the country, that speaks for itself. He's just, he's a great competitor. He hates to lose more than he likes to win, and that's just a dangerous combination for someone as gifted as he is to have that kind of competitive spirit.
Rewinding back to high school, it takes a lot to win one state championship, let alone 5. What was one of Troy's keys to being there year after year?
My coaches and my family did a real nice job helping me stay focused on year after year, and it was just really easy to just make that transition year after year, going 2, 3, and then finally in my junior year, realizing that I can do something special.
A second and third place finish in your first 2 years of college would be an impressive feat for anyone, But for Troy, it's not enough. He wants a national championship. What does Troy feel it's going to take to do it this year?
Both myself and my coaches, we all believe that I am the best in the country. And, like with many guys in the past, you've got to have those good 3 days, and you got to be perfect. And that's what wins national titles. I've just got to make sure I peak at the right time and put it all together. Obviously, the pressure, is definitely significant, but I try to just push myself to go and wrestle the best I can, and hopefully it all falls together.
That pressure isn't just from the outside, but also from the inside. Coach Cole explains.
Well, Troy is without doubt the most talented wrestler and the most technical wrestler I've ever had the pleasure of coaching. He's got incredibly lofty goals. When he comes off the mat and he hasn't pinned you, he's disappointed. And for someone like that, it's a challenge to coach a person like that because he can be very hard on himself. So you got to keep a positive attitude, and he's gotten a lot better over the years to accept that he can't just go out and pin everybody, especially with his injuries.
Troy missed all of last season with an injured shoulder. It was a long road back for Troy, but as a result, he's gotten a different perspective on wrestling and life.
It was brutal. Definitely very long and very stressful. I knew it was going to be a long recovery starting off. They told me it was going to be probably 9 months before I was back on the mats, maybe a year. As far as the time off, it really was beneficial for me to just give a new outlook on life. It really helped me develop my skills and a new mentality for the sport.
Jordan Lean is impressed with where Troy is headed on the mat and in life.
People think that he's not human and that he can't lose. And, I got news for you. Troy can lose. He's human just like all of us are. And he is forced to carry that around with him at every practice, every match he wrestles. And every single match he wrestles, he makes a bigger man out of himself and impresses the heck out of me with just what kind of man that he is making out of himself in the circumstances. And his talent, his ability, his ridiculous technique, top work, just his all-around wrestling is pretty much unmatched.
Despite all the pressure, Troy still enjoys the sport.
I just get a thrill out of going out there and pushing myself and seeing how hard I can push myself and what it takes to put me into exhaustion. As we peak here towards the end of the season, I'm really looking forward to reaching my full potential and hopefully going in and winning that first national title.
With talent, drive, and a great support system around him, you have to feel pretty good about Troy's chances to get that first national title. We wish him the best here at Combat Sports Digest. From Cornell University in Ithaca, I'm Jim Rotunda. That's going to do it for this week's edition of Combat Sports Digest. Thanks for tuning in to us. Now, next week we have our classic show, but then when Scott and I get back from St. Louis, we're going to have a recap of everything that happened at the NCAA championships.
Yeah, Jack Kerouac wrote On the Road. Willie Nelson saying On the Road again. And Combat Sports Digest is going on the road to St. Louis for the NCAA National Championships.
All right, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.